So, Elon Musk's AI startup, xAI, has officially released Grok 3, their latest AI model that directly rivals OpenAI's models, continuing the ongoing rivalry between Elon Musk and Sam Altman. But what's interesting is that this model has actually topped a lot of leaderboards, including its reasoning counterpart. In this video, I'll be testing them out to see if they're actually worth it or not, and you'll get to see the full test that I ran. So, let's get into it. Before I show you the test results from the model, let me tell you a bit more about it. First of all, there's no official trailer or website, and there's not even general access to it yet. However, you can access it on LM Arena, which is now called Chat Arena. It was actually revealed during a live stream, where they also introduced a new big brain mode, which is essentially a reasoning model, similar to OpenAI's GPT-4. There's also a deep search agent, much like OpenAI's deep search. This means they're directly competing with OpenAI this time. Right now, it's rolling out only to users with the Premium Plus plan on X, and even they don't have access yet. It's taking a lot of time. There's also no API available, but it has topped the LM Arena leaderboard with a score of 1400, which is just really impressive. So, Artificial Analysis, which is a pretty accurate leaderboard for these models, also released some key takeaways about what this model has accomplished. According to the benchmarks, Grok 3 is currently the leading non-reasoning model, and that's important. Not only that, but the big brain mode I mentioned earlier, the reasoning model, is also outperforming other reasoning models as well. That is, until the full O3 model is released, which is still several weeks away. Right now, they're available on LM Arena Chat, and I'll show you that in a minute. But as I mentioned earlier, there's still no API access, though it's expected to roll out in the coming weeks, and pricing remains unknown. Another really cool aspect is the training process. This model was trained on 100,000 H100 Colossus GPUs, making it the first model to be trained on such a massive scale. And as you may know, when DeepSeek launched, NVIDIA's stock took a hit. But in this case, you can see that it hasn't affected the sales or the progression of using these GPUs to train even larger models. And finally, what's really impressive is that this company was founded less than 2 years ago, and it's already ahead of major AI giants like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. They've also provided further analysis on this. Okay, so here is the chatbot arena, where you can test the Grok 3 model for free. Just agree to the conditions, go to direct chat, and you'll see that early Grok 3 is already selected. However, other models are available as well, and you can switch between them by entering your prompt right here. Pretty cool. Okay, so here are the tests I did, and I'm going to walk you through them one by one. I'll go through them as quickly as possible so I don't prolong the video. So, let's just get into it. The first question was a really basic word problem. It correctly identified Kazakhstan and its capital city as expected. Next up, I asked what number rhymes with the word wait, and it gave the correct answer, which was the number 8. After that, I tested its ability to write a haiku under specific conditions. Unfortunately, it failed. Each word's second letter was supposed to spell black, but it wasn't able to follow that rule. Moving on, I gave it another word problem, and it passed, correctly stating that 2 oranges were left. Then, I tested it with a more challenging question, naming an English adjective under specific conditions. What really surprised me was that, even compared to previous reasoning models like O3 Mini or DeepSeek R1, who actually got this question wrong, it managed to get this one right, which was pretty impressive. Now, at this point, I encountered some errors because on LM Arena, the model can sometimes shut down due to high demand. But once I got it back and reprompted it, it answered correctly, so mark this one as a pass. Next, I tested another word problem, and it correctly answered that 80 books were left. Again, if you want to read the full question and response, just pause the video. Then, I moved on to a coding challenge. I asked it to generate SVG code for a butterfly. The first result was really disappointing, especially considering how advanced modern models have become. So, I asked it to generate a more detailed and realistic version. However, the second attempt was even worse. It didn't even complete the SVG code. I copied it exactly as it was, but it was incomplete and incorrect. So, this one is a fail. And it's not just with the butterfly. Honestly, it's not really generating SVG code for anything properly. I mean, if you compare it to Claude 3.5's image generation or even GPT-4o's in this example, those are much better than what Grok 3 produced. After that, I tested its ability to generate a 3D cube. It provided the code, I pasted it, and the result looked good, just like any other model's output. It was functional and visually accurate. Finally, I gave it another simple coding challenge to create an HTML page with a button that releases floating bubbles when clicked. However, it failed. As you can see, the button doesn't work. I was really surprised that it wasn't able to complete this one. And I saw this from Theo on X, and as you can see right here, it's not a good model for coding at all. This is a clear example. It failed a Python prompt for making a ball bounce inside a hexagon. And yeah, based on my own tests, it just doesn't look good for coding in general. So, that was my general testing of the Grok 3 model. I found it really good at some tasks and surprisingly disappointing in others. So yeah, the Grok 3 model was pretty good with textual prompts, and it actually surprised me with that one reasoning question. But right now, it's not great at coding, so I don't really think it would be useful if integrated into coding apps like Cursor or Windsurf. Other than that though, it's still pretty solid, especially considering the leaderboards it topped. You know where to find the model, so go ahead and try it out yourself. Let me know if you notice any improvements in coding when giving different prompts. I'm curious to see if it gets better.